Rossoneri, this is AC Milan Talk. We are ready for a new weekly episode with all the going song of our favorite team, both on and off the pitch. But first of all, let me introduce my two friends. Welcome back to Adriano Del Monte. Hi Adriano, how are you?
Hello Licia, hello Sheridan. Wonderful to be back and good to see you both.
We missed you a lot.
I missed you a lot more, but it's great to be back.
And welcome also to Sheridan Bird. Hi Sheridan.
Hi Licia, welcome back Adriano. I can talk a bit less this week because Adriano is back, and I think the viewers will appreciate me talking less.
Talking about the episode on the pitch, there's a plenty of talking points, so let's start with our men's first team. The heart and tendency to overcome difficulties, the desire to keep on pushing, but also the disappointment following the comeback with the 10 men on the pitch. This is the summary story of AC Milan's 25th Serie A match day against Monza. What happened on the pitch, Adriano?
A tough one. I think a disappointing match, obviously off the back of a really busy period with the Europa League and with a lot of fixtures now starting to get busy in the second half of the season. What happened in the end, 2 goals away to Monza, a solid return, but then it's the conceding of 4 goals, especially those 2 late on. There was great fight shown by the team to get back into it, obviously going 2-0 down and a man down, a couple of wonderful goals. But yeah, in the end, a very sour taste, because despite a couple of those positive moments, in the end to walk away with no points and, as you can see from the standings, miss out on an opportunity to get back into the top 2, a big missed opportunity for me.
Sheridan, a difficult one to take for us and a very important win for them.
Yeah, I agree with what Adriano was saying, that it was frustrating. However, it's our job really here to look for the positives. And there were some. If you take away the headline of the score, Pulisic played really well. He looked like a man on a mission. And as Adriano mentioned, that the team showed real fight to come back from 2-0 down to 2-2 with 10 players. We're now watching the images, and I think Malik Chow, having returned from 4 months of inactivity, is naturally going to be a bit rusty. You don't return to the heat of action of Serie A without some signs of being absent for so long. But going 2 goals behind, there was a lot of fear that the result or the score could have actually escalated. This is Monza's second goal, a good finish, you can't deny that. But the fact that Milan fought back with 10 players must be something we can try and cling on to, Adriano.
Of course. Look, we were chatting throughout the game, Sheridan, and there were a couple of moments early in the second half. Of course, there were a few changes where there was some confidence. I did text you one point saying that I think a couple of goals are coming, and they did. And I think that in the end, the positives that we do find is that character, that spirit, and that fighting attitude, that they can get themselves back into it. It is still a very strong unit, and a strong unit with some players returning. Chow, of course, one. And you do need to factor that in, the fact that some of these players who will be returning after long absences will need some time to get back to full match fitness, sharpness, and those levels will take time. And obviously a lot of fixtures to come for the coaching staff to ensure that the players have the opportunity to get some minutes, that we see the strongest Milan very, very soon. But in the end, look, disappointing, 0 points take away from that, but plenty of matches to come, plenty of opportunities to respond.
And is it just after this final result for our Rossoneri, for our head coach Stefano Pioli, who shared his post-match reactions with Milan TV cameras? Let's listen.
No, credo che tutto lo sviluppo della partita abbia dimostrato che non era la nostra serata, che non è stata la nostra serata migliore per una serie di situazioni, di episodi che sono successi dentro la partita, perché pur non essendo tanto brillanti la prima mezz'ora fino all'interruzione abbiamo cercato di fare il gioco, di controllare la partita, poi dopo chiaramente abbiamo commesso delle ingenuità gravi che ci hanno fatto finire il primo tempo inspiegabilmente sotto di 2 gol, poi c'è stata l'inferiorità numerica e poi con grande volontà, grande determinazione, grande cuore e coraggio abbiamo ripreso la partita, ma lì siamo andati in trance agonistica, volevamo addirittura vincerla e ci siamo sbilanciati troppo e purtroppo è stata una serata dove troppe cose non hanno funzionato. Rafa doveva giocare, ma ieri ha interrotto la rifinitura perché aveva ancora un problemino al polpaccio che ha avuto giovedì, quindi non si è sentito stamattina di cominciare dall'inizio. Cristian ieri non si è allenato perché era ancora affaticato e quindi le scelte sono state fatte per cercare di mettere in campo una squadra con più energia, con più possibilità di fare le prestazioni. Poi il fatto che si sono entrati bene è una cosa importante, ma la squadra è equilibrata, aveva le posizioni giuste, però poi dopo la prestazione non è stata quella che ci si aspettava.
Rafael was going to start from the first minute. Christian Pulisic asked to not enter on the pitch against Monza to our head coach Stefano Pioli as we listen. A little comment about them, Adriano.
Lich, it's all about finding that right balance. Again, a lot of minutes, a lot of players still returning. I think from the squad, when we talk about the squad as a whole, you need to find the balance. You need to prioritise who can play when and where, and obviously we need to ensure that we're avoiding injuries. It's a squad that we can't beat around the bush. It's a squad that have had a lot of injuries over the course of the season. So if Leao, Pulisic here weren't fit enough to play from the opening minutes, it is what it is, and Mr. Pioli and the team need to manage that in the best way that they can with so many fixtures to come. But in the end, Sheridan, it was good to see, especially Pulisic, make that impact coming into the second half.
Yeah, if Christian Pulisic wasn't feeling 100%, it didn't show. He was really impressive in the second half. And I think the other thing to remember is that at 2-2, perhaps a lot of teams would have settled for a draw. But this Milan side have specialised in comebacks recently, and they went for the win. And on one hand, you can say that was perhaps naive and they should have just played for the point. But on the other hand, you can say this is a team that wants to play front foot, aggressive football, and perhaps they were undone by their ambition. One to archive, one to try and draw some positives from, but then move forward.
Now our rossoneri will need to be strong and to put this slip-up behind them, focusing on the next European fixture, the Europa League playoff second leg. But first of all, your summary comment of what you saw on the pitch on Thursday night against Rennes.
So many matches. It was a good one. It was a very good one, of course. A convincing victory against a team in Rennes who have been playing some good football in Ligue 1. And look, I think they'll be very satisfied. Obviously, this was a great way to get this week started. It was, well, you'd say it was a near-complete performance. It was a European night. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, one of your favourites, Sheridan, at his best again, was the MVP of the match. It was a match that had it all. Great atmosphere, great European occasion, and still plenty to play for, of course, with this European trophy on the line. So it was a great start to the knockout stages of this campaign. Of course, the return to come, but I think Sheridan will take plenty of confidence from this win going into that second leg in France this week.
Yeah, if I'm honest, Rennes disappointed me a little bit because they'd, as we discussed last week, they'd won 8 matches in a row domestically, and they
Have
did
to be a good team to end that streak.
Exactly. Milan were very impressive to end the streak. Ruben Loftus-Cheek with 2 fabulous headed goals. Rafa Leao scoring again, even when he wasn't scoring. By the way, we know here at Milan Talk that he was making goals, but it's always nice when he scores a goal, and that celebration was cathartic to say the least. And it was a really good professional European performance by the Rossoneri. Hopefully the job is done for the second leg, but never say never, never get too carried away. But yeah, I was really pleased with the way Milan approached the tie, and the fans loved it. So hopefully safe passage into the next round.
So AC Milan does all the thanks to many protagonists, among them the famous couple Theo and Theo and Rafa Leao.
Did you make that one up? Is that yours? Very good.
Theo is coming with his best performances, and Rafa Leao, who reached his 50th goal in Rossonero. Very important stats.
Absolutely, of course, and Theo, very well done, very nicely done. Look, it's we know that this team are at their best when Leao and Theo and the star players are also at their best. So for Leao to get goal number 50, for these players to put on a show in European football again, it's very, very important now. As yes, the passage is not secure yet, Sheridan, but very, very much one foot in the next round of the competition. So important these players are flying. Great to see, great to watch, and hopefully more to come.
Rafa Leao scored his 50th goal in Rossonero, but now a question for you guys. Start with Sheridan. Your favorite Rafa Leao goal?
I have to say it was the one that he scored in the derby in September 2022. This back flick by Giroud is exquisite. and then you just watch this run, takes on 3 Inter defenders and then slides it into the bottom corner. I don't really have to speak. Pictures say 1,000 words. The celebration as well was special. It was a party atmosphere, but it was a goal that I think it was an introduction, not to Leao, but just showing what he is capable of. Look at this, he slides through the Inter defence as if they're not there, and then just like passes it into the bottom corner. If I scored a goal like that on the PlayStation, I would have a party for a week. He did it in real life.
And for you, Adriano?
You've done very well there, Sheridan. Your words have done it wonders. For me, I was actually there pitch side at that match. I really enjoyed Sheridan's selection, but I've gone for another one. Okay. One of his many wonderful goals against Napoli from last season, and it was in a very, very convincing display. Now, Sheridan, what makes this one extra special for me is that I was literally standing on the pitch as he did this, and this memory is just imprinted in my mind. A wonderful, wonderful ball across there, and Leao making it look even better with a wonderful finish in the top corner. This was a magical part of the season. Obviously, so many fixtures against Napoli in, I think it was 3 matches in the space of 12 days. And just the Maradona was silent after that went in. And Leao there ran over, I was standing actually right there, ran over to where the Milan fans, the travelling Milan fans were. And it was just a very, very special moment in a very special part of the season.
Very similar until the finish, wasn't it? Very similar run, 3 defenders close by him, gets past them.
We've got similar taste.
We've got similar tastes, exactly. But this time, he went for power as opposed to placing it. But
wonderful finish.
And then he went over to thank you and to hug you. And,
exactly, we exchanged the celebration.
I couldn't have done it without Adriano, is what Rafael might have said.
So congratulations to Rafael for this important result, for him, for the team and for the club. But focusing on Europa League, there are still at least 90 minutes for this playoff. What should we expect for Thursday night against Rennes, considering especially that they won 8 matches in 9 total matches during this start of 2024, Adriano?
They're in good form. They're in good form. Obviously, I think you said, Sheridan, you're a little disappointed with what they put out here at San Siro, but this is a team that must be respected, especially on home soil. Rennes, a team that had a 3-1 win at the weekend against Clermont in Ligue 1. This is a team that are very hard to beat, and we know every European tie, when you go away from home, it has its challenges. Want to avoid conceding because obviously don't want to allow them to get back in. So, look, I think a calm and a professional approach, especially in the first 45 minutes by Mr. Pioli's side here, but, of course, a team that absolutely must be respected.
Yeah, just don't take any risks, don't force it. Think of your bodies, think of your fitness, think of... I don't think Milan have to do anything too energetic, you know, they can maybe sit back. Some people might call it an old-fashioned European away performance, which is just let the other team play in front of you and try and hit them on the break. I think it's very important that Milan just try and maybe conserve some energy. Rennes will be going for it, make no mistake about it. Rennes, their pride will have been stung by a 3-0 defeat last week at San Siro. So Milan don't need to force the issue. 3 goals is a luxury in European football, so Milan have earned themselves a bit of breathing space, but obviously you have to take it seriously. But I'm optimistic that Milan can do it, but Rennes will be really going for it from the off.
So after the Europa League and the second leg against Rennes, look into the weekend, the home match against Atalanta, but not good memories against them.
A couple of meetings already with Atalanta this season, and no, they weren't good memories. A couple of defeats, of course, elimination in the Coppa Italia, the last meeting, which was in January this year, and obviously the reverse fixture earlier in the season. It didn't go our way, but this is big. This is a big, big Serie A match, and obviously Rennes to come, but there is an eye on this match because this is very important. Atalanta have a match in hand as well. So when we talk about the race for Champions League football next season, there is pressure coming in. We can't shy away from that. Gasperini has this Atalanta team in, well, the best form in the league at the moment. They've won 6 straight matches in all competitions, including the Coppa Italia win here at San Siro against Milan. It's a team that's going to be hard to beat. Of course, a couple of players that are very well known to Milan fans. And look, there's still some time to go, of course, because the Rennes match is to come before it. But certainly we're going to need to see an improved performance than the one we saw last weekend against Monza, against the in-form Atalanta.
Yes, they're absolutely flying, Atalanta. Gasperini probably won't enjoy watching that clip of him being sent off in the Coppa. But as you said, they've won 6 matches in a row. What I would respond to that, it was saying that Rennes had won 8 matches in a row and Milan managed to beat them. So you can end these winning streaks. Now is the perfect time for Milan to put the Atalanta hoodoo to bed with a strong result at the weekend. That would send a statement out to Serie A.
I'm confidently predicting that they will do this. No, I feel very good. I've covered a lot of Atalanta this season and I like the way that they play football. They're a very, very attractive team. I like the timing of the match. I like the fact that it will be off the back of the return in the Europa League. These players are busy, these players are hungry. We'll see the strongest 11 playing from the start. I'm very confident we'll see Milan return to winning form.
Well done. So that's all for Stefano Pioli's Let's. Now let's move on with our women's team. On the final match day of this regular season, our rossonere gained a very important result and satisfaction in the home derby against Inter.
Very good. We love
Yeah.
victories against Inter, don't we, Licha?
Yeah, of course.
Very, very important. Unfortunately, though, the unfortunate part is, of course, it wasn't enough to get into that top half of the table, and now we are at the breakaway point of the season. But a 2-1 win against Inter, very well deserved. In a tough match, Sheridan, I know you covered it very, very closely and will walk us through the action soon. But as you can see there, the confirmation, 6th place, 21 points, 5 points adrift of Inter. And we were discussing it in the weeks in the lead-up, but unfortunately it was that one defeat to Sassuolo a couple of rounds back, which in the end was the difference. But look, great form now to take into the remaining fixtures. We'll have the fixtures come out very soon of what's to come, who, where and when. And they'll be very proud. And again, I think now the focus as we go into the second half of the season will be focusing on building to next season and ensuring that the team finish off on a high.
Yeah, it has to be. I concur with Adriano. There's no point in looking at the table. It was a disappointing campaign, but winning the derby is always fantastic. This is an own goal by the Inter captain, Alborghetti. Obviously, we don't wish own goals upon anyone, but Dom Pig had played fantastically to create the situation in which the Inter skipper was forced into the error. And, the celebration started. It was an excellent start. This was the second goal. Look at this overhead kick assist by Julie Pigat, central defender, Adriano. But look at that.
Very nice.
Laid it on for Andrea Saskova. Julie Pigat, by the way, had a really good game. There were several standout performers in black for Milan, but Julie Pigat was exquisite, as was Kamila Dubkova. And just another chance to see that overhead kick. And then party time. Inter did pull one back right on the cusp of half-time, which made it a little bit nervy. Alia Guani just not catching the ball there. She had a great performance, Alia Guani, but a slight error there. Driven in to make it 2-1 to halve the deficit. Made the second half a bit nervy, but Milan held on, and it's to beat the neighbours is always fantastic, and it's a sign of things to come. It's now about building for the future, getting the young players in, getting some injured players back. I think the future is bright for Milan. Let's forget what happened up until now, and let's try and look for a better second part of the season.
Now it's time for the international break. After that, the focus will shift on the Coppa Italia campaign for the double face-to-face against Roma.
Very exciting. Of course, still some silverware to play for despite the situation in Serie A. Look, there's been some really tight battles between Milan and Roma in recent times. Of course, Roma are the defending Serie A champions. They are the current leaders and looking very good to defend their crown. So won't be easy, but with Fiorentina and Juventus in there as well, the top 3 teams in Milan, this is a great way to continue to compete against the very best in Italy as the Serie A comes to a close. So look, it's going to be tough, but really exciting and a nice way to end the campaign for the ladies.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Adriano said the top teams, women's team, Fiorentina, Roma, Milan belong in there. They're not in there in the league. We've discussed that. Move on. I said move on, and I'm bringing it up again myself, so apologies. But in the Cup, it's a different competition. It's a chance to try and scare Roma, because Roma are the runaway best team in women's football in Italy currently. But I think Milan can give them a run for their money, and let's hope that things can kick on and it's a trophy. And we love trophies at Milan. Everyone knows that.
That's all also for our Rossonero, and let's move on with our under-19s. Rossoneri fight hard against Genoa, but nothing to do for them. Adriano, what happened?
A tough one. This was obviously disappointing to go down again. Sheridan, you covered this one very closely, and it's a disappointing result. But again, I think I say it every week. We're not at full strength at this level with the quality across the country. It is tough. But in the circumstances here, a 2-1 away to Genoa with a really big match ahead and a busy fixture list, it's dropped points. You can see there Genoa in 8th place, and obviously now 5 points difference. Milan now in 6th. So look, it's a disappointing outcome, and of course Inter ahead as well. You can see them up the top there. It's a tough one to swallow.
Yeah, it wasn't a great match in the sense that, without wanting to be rude, Genoa play a very defensive, old-fashioned style of football, trying to be diplomatic, but they played on the break. They got a penalty with one of their only attacks. They scored the penalty, then they kind of locked the door again. It was a type of football that home teams don't often deploy. But it was effective because they won 2-1. And naturally, Mr. Abate, our boss, was frustrated. Milan actually got back into the game, and it looked for a second as if they could push on and actually get the full victory. It was a goal that was one of many attacks by the Rossoneri. But Genoa, who just had a plan, and the plan was to spoil. That was the goal by the fullback Magni. The plan was to spoil. The plan was to try and squeeze out a couple of chances. And Milan, unfortunately, left Papadopoulos, the towering Genoa striker, free. He was on his own to nod it into the goal. And Genoa got the victory. It was frustrating, but we say it every week, and it's true. You have to learn from these things. Not every team you play against will let you have the whole pitch to yourself and try and engage with you. Some teams will sit back, park the bus, it's also known as. Some teams will try and make it tough for you and play a kind of football which is frustrating, and you have to learn from it. So, yeah, another one to just sort of say, lost the match, did our best, didn't happen, move forward.
And what about Inter, that is sitting at the top of the table, also because also for Abate's side is derby time?
Yeah, well, derby time, and of course you saw the standings earlier. They're clear at the top very quickly now, have created a nice gap for themselves at the top of the table. So obviously this is going to be a nice challenge, but a nice challenge, of course, with the European football to return as well. And I think for Abate's young men here, this is the team you want to be playing now. A big match. It's a great warm-up match. It will be obviously respected, but a great preparation match ahead of the return of the UEFA Youth League. So look, it will be tough given Inter's form. Inter won very late on at the weekend, but obviously it's a derby, and that's all they'll be focusing on, and hopefully we can see a return to winning form and some goals like that.
Yeah, that's the, hopefully it's a chance to get back on track. Derbies are always special. You don't need to get yourself any extra motivation because it's always nice to beat the neighbours, as the women demonstrated. Let's hope the youngsters can do the same thing. And this Milan squad is as good as anything in the country, but they're just going through a bit of a tough phase. However, we're optimistic. Adriano predicted that the men's team, the full team, will beat Atalanta. I predict that the Primavera will beat Inter. Love it.
So good luck to our under-19. So we come to the end of this new episode. Thanks to Adriano Del Monte.
Thank you, guys, and it was lovely to see you both again.
And thanks also to Sheridan.
My pleasure. And Adriano came back from an absence and he just slotted straight back into the show like a true professional that he is.
See you next week, guys. Dear Rossoneri, that's all for today. Thanks for following us. See you in the next episode of our AC Milan Talk. Ciao.